Stephen A is dropping a stink bomb. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Real Talk with Darius. It's been a while, just to say the least. A lot of news has transpired. My goal is definitely to stay on top of it. I'm getting back to it. I've been busy doing several other projects, and in part, I would just admit and be open with you, I've been lazy as well. But I still keep up with what's going on. I love you guys, so I hope some of you, if you've left, you return back. But if not, I wish you the best. Anyway, my goal is to become the best I can be on this platform and any of the other platforms as I continue to grow and as I get better. Now, we have a big story here. And you say, what's the big story here? You're going to see here in a little bit. Because our country is going through a major shakeup. The world itself is going through a major shakeup. And so, but not to belabor the point, I'm going to go ahead and get with it. But make sure you hit that like button, comment, subscribe, share this video, share the channel. I'll be talking with you shortly.
This morning has seen a ton of breaking news in the National Basketball Association. Trailblazers head coach Chauncey Billups and Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier were arrested as part of FBI investigations into sports gambling. Billups' arrest was part of a separate but related case linked to an illegal poker operation tied to the mafia, ABC News is reporting. At the core of Rozier's arrest is a March 2023 game that saw an uptick of Rozier bets come in on the under. Rozier left the game just 9 minutes in, citing a foot injury. Rozier had previously not been accused of any wrongdoing. Also involved in this, former Cavaliers player and assistant coach Damon Jones, who was also arrested on charges that he provided inside information about NBA games to co-defendants. FBI Director Kash Patel announced the arrest. Take a listen.
As you now know, individuals such as Chauncey Billups, Damon Jones, and Terry Rozier were taken into custody today. Former, current NBA players and coaches. What you don't know is that this is an illegal gambling operation and sports rigging operation that spanned the course of years. The FBI led a coordinated takedown across 11 states to arrest over 30 individuals today responsible for this case, which is very much ongoing. Not only did we crack into the fraud that these perpetrators committed on the grand stage of the NBA, but we also entered and executed a system of justice against La Cosa Nostra to include the Bonanno, Gambino, Genovese, and Lucchese crime families. And the fraud is mind-boggling. It's not hundreds of dollars. It's not thousands of dollars. It's not tens of thousands of dollars. It's not even millions of dollars. We're talking about tens of millions of dollars in fraud and theft and robbery across a multi-year investigation.
Ladies and gentlemen, I see a lot of press conferences and stuff like that. I've seen a lot of things in sports. I don't see the director of the FBI in attendance, but he was there just now. Shams Charania joining us right now, our ultimate NBA insider. Shams, welcome to the show. What more can you tell us?
Kash Patel right there. He actually has been even more involved in the last few weeks, but this is an investigation that's been going on for at least 2 years. Terry Rozier has been investigated by the FBI for sports gambling, illegal sports betting involvement. And so he was arrested today. A note here, the NBA had actually cleared him before, but now he is obviously arrested, taken into custody. Chauncey Billups was arrested this morning. Both are sitting coach or player, right? So Chauncey Billups was literally coaching an NBA game last night in Portland, a loss to Minnesota, and he was arrested this morning at 6 a.m. in Portland. Terry Rozier was on the Miami Heat bench last night in Orlando. He was then arrested in an Orlando hotel at 6 a.m. And for Chauncey Billups, his involvement, like you just said, Stephen A., was because of illegal poker operation tied to the mafia. And so the one person that was involved in both was Damon Jones, the former NBA player and coach. And so this is something that the FBI has been targeting, has been investigating for the last couple of years. And I think there's just shock around the NBA. This is seismic. We've never seen a sitting NBA head coach, a sitting NBA player, both arrested at the same time, obviously. But specifically with Chauncey Billups here, we'll get a better feel as the day goes on just how wide-ranging this goes. But he was involved in a 30-defendant case in an illegal poker rigging activity tied to the mafia.
Shams, have we received any indication at all that more people are going to be named, more arrests are coming down the pike?
So there could be some surrenders, Stephen A. Like there could be more people that just get uncovered based on these 30 plus arrests today. So who cooperates with the FBI? Who else gives more information to the FBI out of these 30 plus defendants? So surely it might not be today, but there could be more moving forward. But as of today, there were 3 arrests, and that's Terry Rozier, Chauncey Billups, and Damon Jones, all tied to the NBA, right? So there's obviously 30 plus in total, but it's specifically to the NBA. Like Kash Patel just said, the 3 most public arrests were those 3 individuals. And so there are none beyond that right now that are tied to this. There could be more. One name of a player that has been investigated in a similar sports betting investigation by the FBI was Malik Beasley. But I'm told he was not arrested. He was not involved. His attorney, Steve Haney, told me today that he wasn't involved in this situation, and he has not cooperated with either the Rozier case, the Chauncey Billups case, or the Damon Jones case. So he is not arrested in this, but surely there might be more. But as of right now, Chauncey Billups, Terry Rozier, and Damon Jones.
Hey, Williams, let's start with you, your reaction.
It's a lot to absorb. Obviously this is part of a larger sting operation, right, with the mob families. So, you look at Chauncey, you look at Terry, you look at Damon, pawns on the chessboard compared to the bigger play here by the FBI. But obviously Kash Patel, FBI director, making this announcement, over 30 individuals in 11 states it's a monstrous thing. Never have we had a sitting head coach be involved in something like this. I think it's a stain on the NBA in a massive way. New media rights deal that just came out. This is a really big embarrassment for the league, having a player, a former assistant, and obviously a guy like Chauncey be involved. Makes it feel as if it's a way bigger challenge and issue for the league. I will say this, S.A., you and I have had conversations about this. This is not to excuse anybody's behavior, but I do think it's important to give context to people at home just about how this lifestyle is lived. I've seen guys lose $200,000 on an hour plane ride. I've seen friends gamble in high-stake poker games. A lot of things that happened in Vegas, even though I know it's illegal, happen behind closed doors in these communities. It's an ongoing thing now. I can't condone giving out information to friends. I do hear conversations that happen all the time about, hey, I hear player X is hurt. Not saying it's correct, just things that always happen.
He's hurt, and then your boy goes out.
Makes a bet on it. Right. So I want to lay that out there to set the table. It doesn't excuse any of it, but it is a part of the lifestyle that I think people don't openly talk as much about.
Monica?
I think that's good context, Jay. I will say this, because we were together when the Jonte Porter news came down last year on First Take.
Yes, we were.
That didn't involve the FBI, and we saw what the penalty was.
That's right.
And so as someone who loved that Detroit Pistons squad that Chauncey Billups was on, has really enjoyed him as a head coach, I hope there is some layer of this that is not what it seems this morning. But if Jonte Porter was banned and there was no FBI involvement, I am saddened by what would seem would be the next step in this case. But The Athletic just put out a great article. We always know they do their anonymous NBA sort of poll. One of the topics this year was gambling. And it ranged from players being very candid. One anonymous quote said, it's like knowing you have an It's like telling someone not to do something, but putting it right in front of them. And they were very candid about the relationship and the partnerships that the league is in when it comes to gambling. And then there's a bunch of players who said it's more money for everybody, and ultimately that's in our pocket. But I've always been cautious of the relationship that the league now
John
has.
Tim Bird, though, the FBI was involved. Just
Were they? Okay.
They were involved. Just so you know. Go ahead, Vin.
I think that's the important thing for us to point out here is that the NBA, all the broadcasters have been looking for various ways to increase revenue over the past several years. And Vegas has been with open arms, or gambling, not just Vegas itself. Like Vegas has the markers that catches these things. The NBA, they only have so many resources that can catch gambling when it happens on prop bets and everything else. Like they only know but so much. I think Chauncey Billups, as someone who was recently enshrined as a Hall of Famer, as someone that Stephen A. and I both know really well.
Got a lot of love for him.
This is something that shocks us.
Yeah.
This is utterly shocking this morning. Like, I was in college in Michigan when those 2004 team, came in, how beloved Chauncey Billups was in particular as the leader, as the mature person. But when you start talking about the mob, that's where it gets scary. Because you don't know, because here's the thing, it's so vague, Jay.
Well, that's
you have no
point.
idea how overt, how direct the connection is. I want to be very careful
1000%.
to not directly connect dots, because it's not like Chauncey went straight from the floor to being a head coach, so then we can say that Chauncey was doing this or doing. We don't know.
We have no idea.
We have no idea, so I want us to let the due process of this play out. Remember in 2017, Stephen A., college basketball was hit, where Adidas, and a lot of people got accused of stuff, but only a handful actually went to jail. So it's one of those things you have to say, be careful about rushing to conclusions. It just doesn't look good on its
Lumping
face
names
right now.
together.
Exactly. You just got to be careful.
It doesn't look good at all. I'm glad Shams is still here as well. I appreciate everybody. I'm going to separate.
All right. I wanted us to really get a context of what everybody had to say. Give everybody around the table an opportunity to speak, because now Stephen A is fixing to get into the mix, and we all know how Stephen A tends to set the table when he wants to drop a hammer, drop a mic, shock people. Now, I'm going to say this. I like a lot of what Stephen A has said, maybe over the last several months, especially. He has his politics channel. Of course, he does sports and things of that nature. So kudos to him, how he's expanding his horizons, and he's opened his mind to some different ideas. However, with that said, now I kind of sound like Stephen A. don't I? I'll set you up with all these wonderful compliments. I'll soften you up before I lay a blow on you. Stephen A. is about to drop a bomb, and I'm going to call it a stink bomb. Stephen A. is dropping a stink bomb. Okay, so I said that for my short video. I'm going to tell you right now. Stephen A. has dropped a stink bomb. Why is that? You are about to listen to what he has to say. Now, I want y'all to focus on this as we go to Stephen A.'s take. These basketball players and everyone else involved, I heard it at the time of this recording, I've heard it's around 33, 34 people that has been arrested. As you heard the gentleman by the name of Shams Charania say, this has also to do with, I think he said it. My bad, y'all. I stepped away for just a sec while he was recording. But anyway, I think it's either he said it. I think he said it. Anyway, that there are 4. Now I'm thinking of the video I was listening to, because I had already heard some of this before. But anyway, there are 4 mob families that we know of who's involved, particularly with the basketball player Chauncey Billups, the coach of or now probably fired, but at this time he is his role right now is canceled or in holding. As Portland Trail Blazers, the basketball team, Portland Trail Blazers head coach. His position is up in the air right now. Okay, likely he's going to be fired or whatever. But anyway, the 4 mob families who were involved with Chauncey Billups, and they were selling his bill of goods. Said a lot of high stakes, high rolling poker players had the opportunity to play poker games with him, and they was running a big scheme, a big scam. I even heard in another report that there was one gentleman, obviously he's a high roller. Over the past, few years, he's lost it somewhere in the neighborhood of $7 million, $8 million at the table. $7 or $8 million he still plays. So there's more to it. But anyway, this story is not about the arrest of gamblers. This story is about the arrest of illegal gamblers. I want y'all to keep that part in mind. Stephen A. now is about to drop a stink bomb that I think is going to mess up this entire context. I'll give you some of my feedback or commentary after he speaks.
Separate everybody.
Stephen,
go ahead, Sean.
I do. As Vinny just said, there's.
I'm sorry, I'm letting him finish.
There's a lot of unknown here. How much knowledge did Chauncey Billups have about that? He was a part of a mafia ring operation, but the indictments do say that this was part of cheating, rigging poker games. So allegedly, knowingly cheating and rigging these poker games. What is able to be proven? We have the indictments. I'm going through them. They're obviously very lengthy, but that is at the essence of what Chauncey Billups is being accused for, separate from Terry Rozier, who's being alleged for sports betting, gambling, prop bets, things of that sort, and giving information to other defendants and co-conspirators. And then Damon Jones is the one person that was actually wrapped into both cases. That one was charged with giving information, giving stuff to the defendants and co-conspirators, but also involved in a cheating, rigging, gambling ring operation tied to the mafia.
I want to shield, and I want to look into the camera and look into the eyes of America and shield everybody on this set away from what I'm about to say. This is...
Here we go, y'all. Are y'all ready for this stink bomb that Stephen A. is about to lay? Are y'all really ready? Prepare yourselves.
Coming from me. We all know, when we're talking about gambling, just so you know, in calendar year 2024, Americans wagered approximately $147.9 billion through regulated sports books. According to the American Gaming Association, as of August of this year, Americans wagered an estimated $84 billion with illegal bookies and offshore sports books in the past year. We know about how the world of gaming and gambling has ingratiated itself within the world of sports and vice versa. And we all understand, like we talk about the poker games and all of this other stuff. You may not have known any kind of mob connection or anything like that. We got that part. But there's a macro perspective that everybody has to pay attention to. And this is where I come in. We're sitting on here on the sports show doing First Take. We all know what other stuff that I do. We know what world that I live in terms of politics. How many times, for one incident after another, have I said, Trump is coming? He's coming. I'm going to say it on national television again. Bad Bunny is performing at the Super Bowl, and all of a sudden you hearing ICE is going to be there, looking to engage in mass deportations. The Super Bowl. Disrupt.
There we go, people. Stephen A. basically brushes aside not the act of gambling, but the act of illegal gambling that has taken place. And he has made this a political argument solely. Now, if it actually shaped up to be that way, I'd be on the bandwagon. I'd be one of the first to be honest and tell you about it. I say, yeah, I think this is politically motivated. I would say that. But this actually occurred, this investigation occurred a couple of years ago when President Trump was not in office. And let me say this for the record. I'm a Trump supporter. I'm not a Trump apologist. And if President Trump was perfect, people would still have a problem with him. Let's call it what it is. But Stephen A. has now, in a sense, deflated the situation, and now he's deflecting and trying to turn people's attention not from the matter at hand. If Chauncey Billups, again, I do not know the level of his involvement yet, just like you, none of you. I know about Terry Rozier for what he did. He did throw, I'm going to say, or I'll use the term, it looks like he threw a game because he injured himself in 2023. He says he claimed injury, a feigned injury to his foot when he got to a certain level, a certain point, set a amount of points or something like that. Excuse me. And he took himself out of the game for the rest of the game. Then you come to find out he has $200,000 left at home that he won because he had told his boys earlier before the game that he was going to take himself out. I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what he said. So some of his partners made money and whoever else they told made money. And he came home, although he has a $26 million check, he came home to $200,000 extra. So instead of Stephen A. attempting to somewhat, in some way, hold these guys accountable, instead of him elaborating on the involvement of mafia members, when the mafia is involved in something, that is really never a good thing. Most of the time, anyway, it's never a good thing. He wants to go ahead and turn it on and say, hey, listen, I'm involved in the world of politics, and I want y'all to know it is my take that I've been saying this for quite some time now. I'm prophesying this to y'all. I've been telling y'all what was going to come, and I'm yet right again that President Trump has this hit list, this revenge tour list of people he's going after. And he has sicked his dogs on the FBI. The head of the FBI, why is he at this press conference? Could it be that the head of the FBI is at this particular press conference based on this particular situation, has nothing to do with politics, but has everything to do with justice? Illegal gambling, not just gambling. That's what people, they take. See, that's why, this is why it's important for you to do your own research. This is why when you listening to talking heads like them and like me, listen to all of the words. They are not being arrested for illegal poker games or illegal gambling. They have been arrested because if illegal gambling, cheating, hold the guys accountable. No, instead of that, Stephen A. says, hey, I tell you what, don't look at these guys. I know they did wrong, but you know, President Trump has a political agenda, and he's going to come in to take out everybody who did not support him, everybody who may or may not have said something against him. Everybody he views as opponents, he's coming after them. So what he's saying is President Trump is using the power of his position to do the very same things the previous administration actually did do. They did it to parents, they did it to conservatives, they did it to Christians, they did it to Trump supporters, and it even did it to some of the Democrats who did not support their agenda campaign. They just didn't have the kahunas to come out and say it to your face, but they definitely showed it. They told you they was going to do one thing and did the opposite. If you go back, you can see that for yourself. Some of those things Stephen A. did address too, by the way, in some of his commentary in the past. But no, he is taking this illegal gambling investigation, this operation. He's taken the time, and he's done the same thing on his program. Kash Patel did say something back, by the way, and I believe I have that video for you as well. I do have a clip of Kash Patel responding to Stephen A.'s comments. But Stephen A. is going to sit here and give his soliloquy and talk about how Trump he's taking all attention off of those who allegedly have committed crimes, and he's pointing a finger at the president. But I don't know if he knew at this particular moment. He knows now, but I don't know if he knew at this particular moment when he was saying this. But this investigation started under the Biden administration. So Stephen A., you're wrong. And if Trump is going after people, at the very minimum, let's say he's going after people. Let's just say, to entertain Stephen A.'s theory, these are actual crimes. What crimes did they go after Trump for? Guaranteed, most of it, they actually either manipulated information or they tried to frame him. Y'all can look it up for yourself. Don't look at all mainstream media. I want to go ahead and say that too. You have to go to other platforms in order to get a broader picture, to get context. For those of you sitting out there, especially black folks out there because it's basically what he's saying here is that black folks are being attacked. Why are their faces being pushed on the screens? We don't see nothing about the mob members and stuff like that. Somebody else I saw did a video actually answering that question that Stephen A. asked about that, or would address later, and it made perfect sense. There's some people you have to be very careful in what you do. People who live in everyday life really don't understand how the real world works, and their ignorance can be their own downfall. And in this case, Stephen A., he is saying he's calling Trump the big bad wolf, when the actual wolves are the ones who hide in sheep clothing. So Stephen A. is wrong here. I'm gonna let you finish listening to what he has to say, but I just wanted to go ahead and add my thoughts to this at this particular stage. Stephen A. laid another egg.
Things. Big night for the NBA. Wembanyama put on a show. That has now been smeared because we're talking about this story. Okay? Remember, Trump has a long, long history connected to the world of sports because he had those casinos. Where do you think folks were coming half the time? I'm not talking about individuals. I'm talking about the culture. When people want to go to a casino, when people want to gamble, when people want to party, or whatever the case may be, this was his kind of connection to that. Why am I glad you're here, Monica? Because don't be surprised if the WNBA is next on his list. Mm-hmm. Because when you've got...
Did y'all hear that? And then, of course, you hear Monica. She sits there and say, she's agreeing with him. If the WNBA is not guilty, what do they have to worry about? And once again, this is why I said what I said about gambling. There's gambling and there's illegal gambling. Listen to how he's framing this story. It's just like people talking about undocumented immigrants. There's illegal immigrants. They're not undocumented. They're undocumented simply because they're illegal. There's immigrants and there's illegal immigrants. There's innocent people and there's guilty people. There's black and there's white. There's red and there's orange. Okay, there's light and there's darkness. Stephen A., stop playing games. I wish somebody on this channel, on this platform here, would challenge him on that, but these people ain't like that. Now, the only person I think in here, if I remember correctly, who's going to say something to challenge a little bit of what Stephen A. says is going to be Sham Sharania. But the rest of the guys, they probably believe, like Stephen A. does, is that this is racial and this is political. Now, Stephen A. didn't say it's racial. Those words didn't come out of his mouth, but it's implied, if you know Stephen A.
Got all of these protests that have been going out there and people that have been protesting against him and what have you. This man is coming. He's coming. And I've been saying it for a long time. And to me, this is the latest nugget of evidence that we're talking about right here. That's not to question the legitimacy of the case. We don't know. We're all sitting up here and we're saying that we don't know. But anybody that has been around him, anybody that has talked to him, anybody that has seen his reactions from the sports leagues and the positions that people have taken, they are not surprised at what's going on today. I'm watching a press conference with the director of the FBI. Tell me when we've seen that. We've seen people, we've seen accusations before. We've seen athletes get in trouble with the law before. You don't see the director of the FBI having a press conference. It's not coincidental. It's not an accident. It's a statement. And it's a warning that more is coming. Mm-hmm. And that's what they're saying here. And everybody better get, I'm just telling you, it's as serious as it gets. This ain't the platform for me to get into it the way I'm going to get into it. But I've been saying he's coming. He's coming because in his eyes, folks try to throw him in jail. In his eyes, he's innocent. They try to put me behind bars. I'm getting everybody. He's not playing. And so this, in a lot of people's eyes, talk to people in the NBA, talk to people in the NFL, talk to people in the world of sports. They think this is like the tip of the iceberg. These are the kind of words that are coming out of people's mouths. It's not a surprise. It's very disheartening. It's very concerning. We don't know where this is going to go. But this is just the tip of the iceberg. Everybody's better brace themselves because he's coming.
I heard last night, Stephen A., that
Yes, he's coming, Stephen A. If you have committed a crime, isn't it nice for those of you who are logical thinking, rational Americans out there, you people in general out there, because some of you may be across, overseas and not non-Americans. Isn't it plausible that if you see injustice, legitimate crimes, wouldn't you want justice to happen, to occur? It's just like people who are the governors right now in Democrat-led cities who are fighting President Trump for wanting to send the National Guard out in order to protect the citizens of those cities who are Americans from illegals primarily and other crimes. What is wrong with this picture? What is wrong with having a leader in office who has shown, not just said, but shown that he wants to protect the American people? And how come you don't talk to people like that, Stephen A., who will give you their stories and tell you? I know there's plenty of videos out there where people say they hate President Trump. That's your prerogative. Rightly or wrongly, that's your choice. But at least be honest. There's a lack of honesty across the spectrum. Just like there's gambling across the spectrum, there's a lack of honesty too. There's a lack of integrity. Be honest here. You're saying that President Trump is going across the country to exact vengeance or revenge. That's what Stephen A. is saying. I believe that's very irresponsible, because some of that is rhetoric like that, especially. It's one thing for that to be true. It's another for it to be alleged. But you're making it sound like it's true. Now, again, for the sake of the argument, let's say that is true, Stephen A. If you committed crimes, you should be scared. But those who are not truly scared are those like me. I ain't doing anything wrong. As far as I'm aware, I ain't breaking any laws. Pay my taxes. I'm not stealing from stores. I'm not doing any of that stuff. I'm not lying to the government. I don't gamble. So if I ain't gambling, I'm not doing it illegally either. So what is it? Stephen A. is painting a picture that big bad Trump, just like people have said basically for the last 10 years, big bad orange man Trump is coming after you. When we see he's going across the world brokering peace deals. Stephen A., how often have you talked about that on any of your shows? I mean, literally sat down and talked about it and praised this man. Do you not know just a few months ago, maybe 2.5 months ago, there was a country, I think it was Portugal. No, you know what? Don't give me the line. I know there was a country, and y'all can look it up, because it was one of the countries Trump helped intervene in. Both of these are nuclear powers. His interference, if you will, stopped that from happening using tariffs, the tariff strategy. He just stopped Israel and basically Hamas. He's working on the Ukraine-Russia deal for black people. Y'all black people out there. The Congo, he got involved with that to help shut down war over there. But we don't talk about that. And Stephen A. surely ain't going to talk about that, because that would defeat his purpose. Then we have people in this country who want to who want to create civil war. So they're fighting against Trump, who's trying to save you black people, you brown people, you white people, you pink people, you purple-haired people. He's sending in the National Guard. Why? Oh, because they say he's the big bad orange man. Oh, because they say he is Hitler. Boy, I tell you, boy, Hitler is laughing at a bunch of fools. If he was alive and able to listen to this foolishness, he'd be laughing at the American people. He said, boy, y'all think this is bad. Y'all would have thought, what would y'all really thought about me? Y'all would have called me some type of monster from the pits of hell. That's probably what Hitler would be looking at saying. Hitler would be laughing at the American people as a whole. So Stephen A. is way off his rock. And again, I'm going to say it again. He laid a stink bomb here. because he is saying this is completely politically motivated and related. And he is saying that our president and his law enforcement agencies are doing the very things that the Biden administration did. Let me say it again. To Christians, to conservatives. And let me say this for y'all, so black people out there. There are conservative blacks who were attacked. They were not treated like they were blacks or weren't listened to nor respected as black people because they were conservatives. Then you have Trump supporters. Remember, they called us trash, called us deplorables. We're Hitler supporters, Nazis. They celebrated Charlie Kirk's murder. So if you're going to talk about these things, at least if you're going to say this, Stephen A., have the truth to back it up. Now, if you're saying, Stephen A., if you're going to preface your comment, Stephen A., that Trump is coming, then preface it with the truth. He's coming after injustice. He's coming to make things right that are wrong. His team, he hired people, he selected people who have those same interests. Don't you have employees around you who basically share your same interests? They want to help you succeed in your business, so you make sure they're paid well and make sure they're taken care of. Make sure you're nice to them. Make sure you develop and cultivate nice relationships with people who work for you, because you don't want anyone a part of your team who's going to sabotage your success or try to stand in the way of your success. From the people you work for, like ESPN or Sirius XM, or to anybody, Stephen A., don't you cultivate relationships? Don't you hold secrets? You said this quite often when you talk about LeBron James. You hold secrets close to the vest that you know about this man. Things he tried to do to derail your career. You said that. So how many secrets have you held? Oh, because you're black. Truth is truth, brother. Just speak the truth. That's all. Talk to people who will help expand your thinking, who may provide a different context, a different perspective, because there are times, Stephen A., you sound like you own it and you coming around to certain things. Not simply my view. My view is really more about what I believe is the truth. It's right there glaring. But then some people get in your ear, you probably feeling the pressure. And even though you're Stephen A. and you make your own decisions or what have you, I think some of that stuff really some of the pressure gets to you, because you know the people on the other side, they will attack you. I don't know about conservatives. I ain't saying there are no fringe conservatives out there who will stand up and they will fight and they will do some illegal things to get the job done. Now, there's some of us who still gonna fight regardless, but I'm talking about those who actually will bend the rules and break laws. There's some on the conservative side, I have no doubt. But on the left side, they have proven you stand too far outside, they will come after you. They will mess with your businesses. They will mess with your family. They will do whatever it takes to harm you if they see you as a threat. So I know, Stephen A., you have to be careful of that too. But stop lying on Trump. It's amazing. You can say all this stuff about Trump and still have your day job and still continue to grow your businesses. With all the noise you talking, Stephen A., has Trump put a hit out on you? Stephen A. Smith, I'm asking you, has Trump put a hit out on you? You're obviously able to still say what you've been saying, and you've been saying it for months at a minimum, like you said. Has Trump called you up and shut you down? Has he threatened to reach out to your sponsors, to your partners, or to ESPN to help shut you down because he's afraid of Stephen A. Smith? All right, y'all, let's go and get back to it. I'll tell you, he got me wound up a bit.
Kash Patel was involved in this and was leading this. And as I was getting and gathering more information, that just let me know how big and how massive this all is for not only the government, but for sports leagues, for the NBA. When I heard Kash Patel, the FBI director, is the one leading the press conference. This is not just the Eastern District of New York. This is not just a small investigation, but this has been going on, Stephen A., at least on some local level since 2023. So this has been going on for at least a few years that at least law enforcement has been pursuing this. But yes, the FBI now being involved, that to me, when I heard that last night, was a little jarring.
I say, to your point, the timing of all of it, the second day of the NBA season, it's an exchange of power also that everybody's on notice.
Yes.
Jay, I don't disagree. because I know Stephen A is going to pounce on that too. The timing, all of it matters. Listen, does everybody have an agenda on both sides or all sides of this matter, for example? Yes. Yes. But the question is that motive good? Is it right? Is it just? So while these guys want to sit here as sports commentators, basically saying you interrupted President Trump, Kash Patel, FBI director, you interrupted what was the beginning of a good season for the NBA, for our favorite pastimes. Have y'all sat and thought about the lives that have been affected by this illegal gambling ring for however long it's been going on? Remember, this investigation, as Sham Sharania just said, has been going on for a couple of years or a few years. But how long has this actually been going on? And I do not believe it is only relegated to these group of people. I believe it spans all of sports. Like Stephen A. said, don't be surprised if they come after the WNBA. Well, if there are illegal gambling activities taking place, why would you be surprised? Why is that bothersome, Stephen A.? Why are you mad that justice is actually being served? Is it because it's something you care about? People are interesting. You can tell what a person values and does not value simply by what they're willing to talk about and not talk about. Generally speaking. I mean, I'm not saying you have to speak on every subject, but you can tell. It seems that justice is inconvenient. That's what they're saying. They're not considering, to me, they're not considering all the lives that were affected by this poker and gambling illegal ring that's been investigated. You don't know. Remember, the mob's involved, right? Mob's involved. How many people suffered some type of physical harm, mental harm, or simply lost their lives because they couldn't pay up or didn't pay up in time, whatever. These are mobsters. I'll have another video. Matter of fact, I may do another video with a former mob leader who spoke out on this subject too. Let him talk about it. He used to be involved. Yeah, some of y'all may know him. His name is Michael Francis. I checked it out a little bit. I want to hear his thoughts on it. So I will do another video on that. I have a host of other videos coming for y'all. But so I hope y'all tune in, continue to tune in, and remember to hit that like button, subscribe, comment. This is part of my agenda. I just want to share my thoughts with like-minded people out there. And if you guys have something you may ask me to cover, and it fits what my channel is about, fits my values, fits my agenda, please pop it up in here. We'll talk about it. We'll discuss it together. But mobsters, when they're involved with things, they do take care of business. To them, mob justice is justice. So, Stephen A., have you considered that yet? I know you keep pointing out President Trump and his administration, but have you considered the lives that have been affected? Probably haven't. At least not yet, as far as I'm aware. So, yes, justice is inconvenient. But if you did not participate, I'm talking about if you're the perpetrator, if you didn't do anything wrong, what do you have to worry about?
You're exactly right. And by the way, from somebody who pays attention to a lot of politics and finances, as you know as well, we talk about this. There are billions of dollars being floated in our world that are worth reporting on, that are illegal dollars. Tens of millions of dollars is a lot of money compared to billions of dollars. It's not that amount of money. This is.
Do y'all see how they are shaping this up? I tell you, these guys, they good. Not that good, but they good. They're saying, listen, I know this is a crime, but come on, man. I know this is a crime, but aren't there bigger fish to fry? It's just a few $1 million compared to billions. Well, let me ask y'all this, and I don't know, but I'm legitimately asking. When Doge was allowed at the White House and the federal government, and they were discovering billions of dollars that was being illegally used and illegally funded through different projects, supposed projects for the people, for we the people, Jay, did you say anything about that? Were you on the board? Were you on board with that project? Did you support Doge? Did you shout from the rooftops you are grateful that they are discovering the illegal activities that our politicians were involved in and other unelected bureaucrats were involved in? Did you or Stephen A. really talk about that? I don't know. It just came to my mind, so I thought I'd ask. Because, see, you're saying you got big fish, you got small fish, so why aren't you focused on the big fish? Well, first of all, how do you know they're not focused on it? Doge is one of the things. Trump is actually helping bringing in billions of dollars through tariffs. Have you praised President Trump? Have you said thank you? Have you even commented on your thoughts? What are your thoughts on the tariffs that's bringing in billions of dollars? That's more than millions, Jay. And I'm not trying to sound condescending. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. But I am making a point. I see where your values are. People are very interesting.
This is a statement. This is a massive statement. I would agree with your sentiment.
Listen, they're already talking about, you got Christy Notes of the Department of Homeland Security looking forward to folks coming to the Super Bowl, to come watch Bad Bunny so they can grab some folks. She said this. She has said this. We see what's happening here. You hear people.
No, Stephen A. I'm not going to let you get away with that. Why did she say ICE would be at the Super Bowl? Was it to pick up legal immigrants, documented immigrants, legalized citizens, or illegal immigrants? What did she say? Why would ICE be there? What's the purpose of having police in any neighborhood when the police actually shows up? Now, I'm not talking about driving through or patrolling through a neighborhood or a particular area of town. I'm talking about when the police stops at your house or the place of business, or you're surrounded by the police, by SWAT, by ICE, by law enforcement, FBI. Why are they there? It is a perceived crime or is based on evidence they have compiled together. Right, Stephen A.? They must have evidence. So, Kristen Noem, who's supposed to be helping protect the American borders that you get to enjoy, Jay Williams and all the rest of y'all on ESPN gets to enjoy, the freedoms you get to enjoy. What would happen? I'm curious. What would happen if, God forbid, an illegal immigrant whom the Trump administration caught and released back into the country, and they come, and let's not go to the worst case scenario, let's just go to a near worst case scenario. You get home, you get shot or you get stabbed by that illegal alien. Your child gets kidnapped and rescued by an illegal alien. But you discover that this was the same person that under Trump's watch was arrested and then released right back onto our streets. How would y'all feel about that then? I mean, I'm just curious because people seem to be caught up in a moment when it's more about convenience. See, what's going on right now is an inconvenience to the sports world. Because the question is, as Stephen A. pointed out earlier, many people are saying this is just the tip of the iceberg. I believe it's the FBI director who also said that this is just the tip of the iceberg. I completely agree with that. Because the question is how long has this been going on? How far spread is this disease called illegal gambling? Now, me personally, I don't believe in gambling like that. Have I done a little something? Yes. I've wagered food, for example. I've wagered a few dollars before. So have I gambled? Yes. Is it a practice or a lifestyle for me? No. And just because I have done something still doesn't make it right. I'm man enough to say it's wrong. I'm not under any illusion that just because I do it, it must make it okay or have done it. I'm not throwing stones at nobody. God has redeemed me and saved me from a number of things. No, I don't have a bad history like a lot of other folks do in terms of being raised in the streets and all that kind of stuff. I know people who have, but I've had my own personal set of challenges, made a lot of dumb decisions in my life. I can say that. But God has helped redeem me. And I'm still growing until the day of Jesus Christ. Now, with this situation, I don't like how they're watering it down. They keep trying to tell, what they're basically telling the viewers is there's not much to see here except this is a political, there's a political agenda here. That's what they're telling us. So keep watching. We're going to keep having fun. You know, the game's still coming on tomorrow. The game's coming on tonight. Keep watching Sunday. I get all of that. They're trying to make sure this fire that is in the process of starting, they're trying to help quench it as much as they can. And they want you to not to see the fire that's here. They want you to look over at the person. They are basically acting like, this is my words, okay? They're acting like the Trump administration starting the fire. When in actuality, there's been smoke for a long time. Many people just weren't willing to go and find out what the source of where that smoke was coming from. Because people turn their head this way, they turn their head that way. Hey, you know, I know people who did it. I know people who do this and this and that. Y'all still missing the point. People aren't getting arrested for gambling. They're getting arrested for illegal gambling. And by the way, if you hear something in my audio for that brief moment right there, don't worry about it. I just fixed a little issue. I just saw something there, so I just fixed that. But hey, I hope y'all continue to enjoy this video. I didn't know it's going to be this long. We're already almost knocking at an hour, but I hope you guys enjoy it. I'm doing this for you. I believe some of us are just thinking certain thoughts, and we share some of the same views and values. Some of you may differ. Share it in the comments. Be respectful, but please share your thoughts in the comments.
Why would I bring up the WNBA? Because these marvelous athletes for females who articulate themselves very well in their positions, you understand, cogently, fluently, etc. Oh, that's been disturbing to that administration as well. Because anybody who doesn't fall in line, march lockstep with them, agree with them, etc., he has a problem with it. And he doesn't mind inconveniencing anything. We got to wonder.
Didn't I tell you it was about convenience? Stephen A. and company are more bothered by the inconvenience of true justice than they are about the true crime. That should tell you something right there. And I've seen it happen many, many times. People are people. You see a black man shoot a black man. Again, this whole video ain't about blacks and whites, okay? Don't take it out of context. But I'm making a point because this is something they always do. And since they're not saying it, I know that's a part of their thought process because of past videos. Videos I've seen. They are more upset that this was discovered at this time at the opening of the NBA season than they are about the crimes themselves or the alleged crimes themselves. And they have no concern about the lives that were affected due to these crimes. We don't know. I just know when mobs are involved, it's not an easy path. I mean, if you watch mob videos or movies, you will see there's nothing easy about that life. And that's just on the mob side. If it wasn't the mob side, I probably wouldn't be talking about it as much. People still be affected, though. Just make no bones about it. That's their choice, but they be affected. But is it affecting their normal order of business? Because they have to cover this topic because it's out there in the other mainstream media. But what I don't like is how they're brushing it under the rug or trying to put some water on it, sprinkle some water on it to say, listen, this is really politically motivated, y'all. Don't get it twisted. Yes, people gamble all the time. This might be something, but President Trump, he is out to go after people who are not loyal, who didn't support him. So what he is saying is this is a political hit job. And there are those. And by the way, I do agree with this part about what Stephen A. said. And many of you can likely identify. President Trump does have a long memory. President Trump has this character trait. If you for him, this man will praise the living daylights out of you. He will embellish you. But if you're an enemy, he would do the exact same thing. He is very, very consistent. For or against Trump, you're going to get Trump's attention. But some of you are the exact same way. Stephen A. protects secrets right now, if y'all know this about him. Again, mostly when he talked about LeBron James and their little tiff, people share secrets with him. People say some things. When he's known, he's built a reputation for himself. So why is he upset with Trump that Trump told us he was going after the crime? Basically, part of his campaign. Things are going wrong in this country. The previous administration made things worse. And other administrations. I'm not saying any of our administrations are perfect, but the way he is painting this entire issue and characterizing it as this is a political hit job. I want to keep that before you. Just like he wants to keep before you that Trump is after you. He's coming. Trump came for DC crime. What happened? Peace. For the most part. Trump went after borders. The crime that was happening across the borders. What happened? Peace. Fewer and fewer people have come across illegally. Other countries was taking advantage of us for decades, tariffing us terribly, mistreating us. Many of our presidents made campaign promises they did not fulfill. None of them, as far as I'm aware, thought about tariffing our other countries, our opponents, because a lot of them are our enemies. He shows up. He says America has been done wrong. He didn't say black Americans or white Americans or Hispanic Americans. He said America has been done wrong. We've been abused. He's not going to take it. So he says, I'm going to fight for the people. If the media was honest and not dishonest, most of Americans would actually know exactly what President Trump's been up to. But come on, let's keep it real. Like what Stephen A. is doing, there are many, many media outlets since 2015, after President Trump's announcement, or then candidate Trump announced he was running for presidency. They have done everything they could to discredit him, to make him look bad, to destroy his family, to destroy his businesses, to destroy his associates, even to the point of trying to, if you put it all together, based on the news that came out about him, they tried to assassinate him twice at a minimum. Matter of fact, just a couple of weeks ago, they found an assassin's nest. I don't think that's exactly what it's called, but an assassin's nest near an airport that Air Force One was stationed at or landed at, and the FBI, I believe it was, happened to come across this nest. It was empty, but they found a nest there. Waiting, had a great aim right at President Trump when he comes off the plane to take him out. Y'all didn't hear a lot about that in the news, did you? So if Stephen A. actually had precedent for what he's saying, actually came with receipts showing that he's going after his political opponents without cause, not just because they are not loyal to him and just because they disagree with him, that'd be one thing. But he doesn't really have real receipts on that. It's his feeling. This is his take. All right, let me get back to the video. I hope y'all staying with me on this. I know this is a long video. This is longer than I thought this was going to be. And I still have a few more things. I still have one more video to show after this. But I hope y'all stay with me on this, all right? Or come back, watch about 30 minutes of it, come back and finish watching the rest.
What the owners and what they know about some of this stuff, because some of these owners have known him for years. NFL and NBA. They know who he is. They've talked to him. Some of them have relationships with him. They're not caught by surprise. There's a palpable fear, a palpable alarm, because you know who he is and he's coming. And everybody looked at me and I kept saying, y'all, he's coming. When you do as many appearances as I've done, when you've talked as much politics as I've talked, you hear this kind of stuff and you hear it. He's coming, Stephen. He's coming. This is just the beginning, unfortunately. The NFL, the NBA, the WNBA, and Lord knows who else. As a matter of fact, we're sitting here right now, and the only folks we feel are safe in the world of sports is the UFC. Because obviously, he has a great relationship with Dana White. That's about it. Just be careful. Just beware. Go ahead, Monica.
No, I think,
It's tough.
I think there's an offline conversation for us to have.
Sure.
To acknowledge the climate that we are in is fair, is wise. To believe that sports are going to be absolved from all that's happening, I get that. This is super disappointing. Now, if all that you have pointed out does come to fruition, where does that leave the leagues? I guess is my
It's
question.
a legitimate question. And in fairness to you, the point that needs to be made is that the people who have their complaints are justified in their complaints. You know, if you don't vibe with their ideology, that is perfectly within your right. We have that right as American citizens to be that way. There is no doubt about that. The flip side to it is being mindful and cognizant of what the reaction and the fallout is going to be when that happens. And this situation right here with these sports leagues, we don't know how prepared they are. I believe Adam Silver's prepared. I believe the owners in the league are prepared. I believe Roger Goodell is prepared. I believe the owners in the NFL are prepared. But nevertheless, he's telling you in advance. And oh, by the way, there's a midterm election coming. So a lot of stuff that he wants to do now because he may lose the midterms. The GOP may lose the midterms. And if that happens, where's that going to leave him? So while you're in complete power, you want to do whatever it is that you want to do. So what is it that he's going to want to do? That remains to be seen. But we're having an indication because we're sitting here today talking about the biggest story in sports right now this morning. And there's no way around it. There's no way around
Can
it.
I close the loop for a second?
Sure.
I know obviously we're a sports show, so names like Chauncey Billups and Terry
Yep.
Rozier and Damon Jones are going to be huge. Just, make no miss about it. The Gambino family and some of these other, those are larger stories.
That's right.
Okay? Way
Much
larger
larger.
stories.
Much larger.
So to close the loop on this conversation, if we watch what happened to Porter, and we're just saying, hey, it's guilty by association, the fact that it was announced by this magnitude,
Yes.
it's been made this big.
Right.
I don't know all the details. We're still finding out more information. But this type of stain on the league, I don't know how you.
What does it tell y'all? I
don't know how you separate that and how you keep
I give you the
people in
last
the
word.
league. I
give you the last
I
word.
got a headache.
We all do.
Oh my
I give you
God.
the last word. What does it say to you that the director of the FBI has a press conference? This is not some superstars in the league.
No,
that we're
that's what
talking
I'm
about.
saying.
We're talking about a head coach for the Portland Trail Blazers and a role player in Terry Rozier and a former player and a former assistant in Damon Jones.
And all their names
Yet
just
as a
being
press
lumped in
conference-
together, not
yes,
even
a
being
press conference is being held with the FBI director, and you're mentioning mob families along the way.
Along those names.
It is disheartening, I guess, and a little scary that the morning after let's say the debut of this NBA season, these things are strategically planned out when you have investigations that land this long. Like Terry Rozier is being investigated for over 2 years, and we've known that. And they make this announcement today on Thursday after the league is basking in the
those
open.
families?
Scary stuff, man.
They pale in comparison.
Yes. Shams Charania, I appreciate the great work as always, my man. Thank you so much.
Appreciate you guys.
Wow. Got to move.
Y'all see how this has been misdirected? Do y'all see how they have characterized this? It's staunchly, to them, a big political ploy. Never mind that there's some people who did some things wrong. Would they have a legitimate argument that, hey, you got the crime families, their names are much bigger than this person or that person? Sure. I don't doubt that. What they should be saying is, if the FBI, the head of the FBI saw this as a big deal, what evidence do they have to support them coming out and reporting the way they have? Be more neutral, but I guarantee this is They did it to put the black people out there. They always put the black. This is the problem I have at times with black folks. Black folks are perpetual, generally speaking, perpetual victims. Now, I have not seen, for those who argue this particular argument, when was the last time y'all saw a video Stephen A. or ESPN did briefly? I'm not talking about the George Floyd riots. I'm talking about Chicago, 14 people killed, 14 people shot, a 10-year-old killed, a 10-year-old little black girl playing in her yard, a parent's yard, or sleeping in her home, gets shot. When was the last time they talked about something like that? You say, Darius, what are you talking about? You know, the white man has done this to black folks for 400 years. Yeah, but y'all don't talk about the black folks who took out black folks during that time as well. Because let's be honest here. Every demographic don't like each other. All whites don't like all whites. All blacks don't like all blacks. All Asians don't like all Asians. I mean, if you go down the line, the tribalism or the tribes, everybody got a problem because people are people. So everybody got a problem with somebody. But what happens is when we have a common enemy, now you can focus on that enemy and blame them for all your turmoil, all your troubles. And I ain't even saying it's not true. I wouldn't say that if it ain't true, especially if I don't have enough information. But what black folks tend to do more than any other ethnic groups, the only race I know of, I know it's only one race and it's called the human race. What black folks tend to do is constantly, we don't hold each other accountable for the crimes that we commit. Because I asked this question, then I get to this next video. Let me ask you this question. Who is the greater enemy? The greater enemy. The enemy you see coming, or the enemy that's right behind you? That looks like you, sounds like you, even has seemingly been on your side this entire time. And when the opportune time strikes, they take you out. Who's the greater enemy? Where's the greatest threat? Outside or inside? Now let's go move on to the next video. This is Kash Patel responding to Stephen A's take. He has an interesting point of view. It's short, but it's an interesting point of view. Let's get to it here.
Stephen A. Smith, the sports commentator, suggested that this was revenge from the president for all the kind of left-wing activism of the NBA. Your response to that, 15 seconds.
I'm the FBI director. I decide which arrests to conduct and which not to conduct. That may be the single dumbest thing I've ever heard out of anyone in modern history, and I live most of my time in Washington, D.C. It's right up there with Adam Schiff. We arrest people for crimes.
Stephen A. Smith.
So, that's the response. Let me get to it. That's the response from the FBI director. He thinks that's one of the dumbest statements he's ever heard in Washington, D.C. Come out of Washington, D.C. or come out. Stephen A. is not Washington, D.C. Anyway, that's one of the dumbest statements he ever heard. And I agree. Because it's untrue. Because unlike Stephen A., I paid attention for the last 10 years to what happened to President Trump. You say, oh, he has 37 indictments against him. This is why criminals at various levels are so successful. You have criminals in the Justice Department over the years. I'm talking about in the legislative area, legislative department. You have criminals that have perpetrated every single industry on the planet. I'm talking church, entertainment, businesses of all types. You have somebody in there who's willing to break any law they can in order to do what they want to do, which is basically what Stephen A. is saying about President Trump. He's using his power to go after any political dissidents, which is untrue. Now, if you let Stephen A. tell it, he'd say he's probably saving Stephen A. for something like the best for last. I don't know. That sounds like something Stephen A. would say, in my opinion. So I want to know what you guys think. I know it's an inconvenience to the sports world, but what do you think? Have you given more consideration to what this potentially means and how broad this scope can be? Does crime even matter to you? And when justice shows up, do you see justice as an inconvenience or welcomed help? Thank y'all for joining me. I'll see y'all on the next one. Remember to hit that like button, comment, subscribe, share this video.